we're gonna learn how to do synthetic division. Woo! So synthetic division is basically fake division, and it is the faster way of doing long division by a binomial. Yeah. So to start off synthetic division, you want to make sure that the degree of the divisor is 1 and make sure that the leading coefficient of the divisor is 1. What I mean is the degree of the divisor, this. So the degree of this divisor is 1 and the leading coefficient of it is 1. So we know we can do synthetic division. Woo! So your next step is to write the coefficients of the dividend in a line from least to greatest. Least to greatest, like degree. What I mean is, see, they're already in order in this equation, because you have x cubed, then x squared, then x, and then no x. But if you were to have x to the 5th, and then x cubed, and then x, and then no x, you would have to plug something in for the x to the 4th. You'd have to plug in 0 for that x to the 4th. But we're fine in this equation, so we can go along. Woo! Yeah. So you would write 1, -4, 6, -4. Yay. And then you would write the opposite of the constant over in a box for later. So the opposite of -2 would be 2. Then you bring down the first number, leave some space, and then multiply diagonally and add down. So by multiply diagonally, it multiplies 1 with 2, and you get 2, and you put it here, and then add down. -4 plus 2 is -2. And then you do that until you have all of these spots filled. So -2 times 2 is -4. 6 plus -4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 or -4 plus 4 is 0. Now this number would be your remainder, or it is your remainder. You just don't have a remainder for this equation. So, whenever you rewrite the answer, you would start with 1 less degree than the original polynomial. So if you start with x cubed, you would start with x squared. Or if you start with x to the 5th, you'd start with x to the 4th. So since we started with x cubed, we're going to start with x squared. So we have 1 x squared minus 2 x plus 2, and we have no remainder, so we don't have to add anything or subtract anything from the end. So this would be our answer. However, if you do have a leading coefficient where the divisor is not 1, but its power or its the degree is 1, you could use synthetic division. It just takes a little bit longer. So, for example, you have the equation 4y to the 4th minus 5y to the 2nd plus 2y plus 4, and it is divided by 2y minus 1. You could still use synthetic division. You just have to get this y alone. So to get the y alone, you have to divide everything by 2. So then that would leave you with 2y to the fourth minus 5 over 2y to the second plus y plus 2, all divided by y minus 1/2. Your next step is going to be writing the opposite of the constant of the divider in the box. So you would take negative 1/2. Opposite of negative 1/2 is 1/2. And there it's in a little box. You would then write the you would write all of the coefficients of the dividend in a line. So you would write 2, negative 5 over 2, 1, and 2. Oh, but we can't do that because there's still a missing term. So what you would have to do is you would write 2, 0. That 0 is substituting for the missing y cubed. Then you write negative 5 over 2, 1, and then 2. So then you leave a little space, bring down the 2, and start multiplying. So you multiply the 2 by 1/2, which gives you 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Negative 5 over 2 plus 1/2 is negative 4 over 2. Negative 4 over 2 times 1/2 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 times 1/2 is 0. And you're left with 2 as your remainder. Okay, so to start putting it into your final equation, you write, you start from the 1 degree lower than in your original polynomial. So we start with x to the fourth, or not x to the fourth, y to the fourth. So then you start with y to the third. So you're going to write 2y to the third plus 1y squared. You don't have to write the 1 though. I'm just writing the 1 so it looks, or it makes more sense. Negative 4 over 2 is just negative 2. So instead of writing negative 4 over 2, I can just write negative 2. Then you would have negative 2y. And then you would put your remainder, which is 2, and you write it over the divisor. Which in this equation would now be y minus 1/2. Oh no. It would be y minus 1/2, not 2y over 1, because we divided that 2 out, and we solved this with that 2 divided out. So, yeah, it would be y over 1/2. But we can't have that. We can't have a fraction in a fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by what we divided out at the beginning. So we're going to multiply not everything, just your remainder by 2 over 2. You're then left with 2y cubed, oh, not squared, cubed, plus y squared minus 2y plus 4 over 2y minus 1. See, now that you multiplied that 2 back in, you got the divisor of the original polynomial. Woo! And that's how you do synthetic division. Go Tigers!